Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina with another Sunday night live stream fishing show. It is Sunday night and we are going to get started here on our live stream fishing show. Appreciate you tuning in. Now we're going to get started on Facebook. YouTube's up and running. So it is Sunday night, April 26th at 8:30 p.m. and we have begun this live stream show. Every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. we talk for about an hour about nearshore and offshore fishing tips, tricks, and more. And we give away fishing tips and tricks, and we share lots of funny information and hopefully some good tips. And then also we give away free fishing trips. So thanks for tuning in tonight for our live stream fishing show. Tonight we've got Captain Frank, Captain Mark, and Will and James on. So we've got a few guests on the show tonight. And hopefully you guys are ready for a good show. We're going to go ahead and start the video, but we're going to hold off on getting started here for a little while. But we'll start the video a little earlier than normal. What's going on, guys? Oh, wrong one. There we go. All right, guys. How are you tonight? What's up, Frank?
Hey, how you doing, Dylan?
What's going on, Dad? How are you?
I'm doing great. I got a wing and belly full of mackerel.
There you go. There you go. Looks like you're sitting on the Mrs. Hub, huh?
Yep.
Let's see if I get over there.
And Will and James are trying to start a fire, so I think we might see their screen explode here in a little bit. But we are going to get started with the show. As always, guys, don't forget you can text us at that number in the upper right-hand corner. That's 727-393-1947 number. You can text us at that number to give us your questions, because this is a Q&A show, so we like to answer your questions and fill you in on what's going on. So please don't hesitate. If you have a question, go ahead and text us at that number above. And then throughout the show, randomly, we're going to give away those free fishing trips. If you are chosen as one of those lucky winners of the free fishing trips, make sure to go ahead and text us your home address to that number in the upper right hand corner there. That's how we send you out that free trip. So in order to claim your free trip winning, you do have to text that number in the upper right hand corner. And then also don't forget, guys, in order to win a free fishing trip, you do have to comment at least one time on that Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. So make sure you comment, tell us where you're watching from. Make sure to like the video for us if you're on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, make sure to thumbs up it and subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. We'd appreciate it. So we are going to go ahead and get started. It looks like we got Will and James back. What's up, Will?
Not much. GD, how are you?
Did you forget my name again? What's up, James?
I was listening to Captain Mark and talking to you.
What's going on, James? How are you?
How are you?
All right, so tonight we have a few less guests than we did last week. Last week's show was a lot of fun, but it was a little difficult for everybody to hear the different people talking and answering questions, and we didn't get quite as many questions done as I would like. So tonight we've streamlined it a bit, a few less guests, and hopefully that'll help us get to more questions. So please don't hesitate to send your questions to that number in the upper right hand corner. But before we get into the questions, let's look over what we've been catching here real quick. So let's see if we can't pull these photos up. So lately, the inshore fishing has been pretty good. We've been seeing some good bites of inshore species like this black drum. We've been seeing a lot of those black drum around the structures. We've been seeing some flounder around the structures in the sandy bottom. The flounder bite has actually gotten a lot better. The jack crevalle are moving around the flats. A lot of jack crevalle around right now. We've been seeing those mackerel. The mackerel are all around the mouth of the bay and the passes. A lot of redfish in the shallows around the structures. We're seeing a lot of redfish throughout the entire area. Redfish love those shallow water structures like mangrove shorelines, oyster bars, and the residential dock lines are doing real well. Here's a few redfish from John's Pass as well. Lots of mangrove snappers starting to show up. The snook are moving into the passes. It's been a real good time to get out there and catch some fish inshore. Definitely more and more snook are moving into the passes. A lot of these smaller schoolie sized fish are out on the grass flats in the bay still, but the bigger snook are moving into the passes. We've got the tarpon showing up. People are catching tarpon around our beaches, the mouth of Tampa Bay, and also even in John's Pass, some tarpon have been caught and landed. There's a lot of trout action going on. The trout bite has been very good throughout the entire area. So real cool to see the trout and other species biting well. Near shore, we've been seeing a lot of blackfin tuna around anywhere from 80 to about 140 foot of water. I've been seeing a lot of blackfin tuna. The hogfish bite's still going pretty good, but it's definitely slowed down a little bit as that water warmed up. A lot of kingfish still around. Kingfish bites probably going to start slowing down as that water warms. That recent little weather helped keep it cool and keep those fish around. We've got another front coming this week that should hopefully help keep them around too. Captain Billy Nobles sent us some photos from some of his charters. They've been doing really well on the red grouper, anywhere from about 80 to about 140 foot of water. Captain Brian Morgan sent us some photos. He's been catching a lot of tuna, some big mangroves, and some fat red grouper, a little deeper, about 100 to about 150 foot of water. So some good fishing inshore and near shore right now. It's a great time to get out there on the water, and we're excited because hopefully we're going to be fishing again this week. I know I'm excited about that. Frank, you looking forward to getting back out there?
And you got that right, buddy.
What do you think about that hogfish bite, Frank, now that the water's starting to warm up? We're starting to get into May. A lot of people have been asking about those hogfish because, to me, as the water warms up, the water gets more clear. They get a lot more pressure from those divers. It seems like the hogfish bite tends to decline a little bit in later spring through the summer. It's not that we don't catch them, but what do you think?
Yeah, well, we haven't had a whole lot of great weather lately, so hopefully there won't be a whole lot of pressure that's been put on them. And I don't know how many people have been getting out there. I've seen a lot of people boating, but I don't know how many people are going offshore. I just haven't been out there. It's hard for me to judge or gauge really anything right now. It's been over a month since I've been on the water. At least in the zone we normally fish, and definitely looking forward to getting back to it. It's I'm missing it for sure.
Well, historically, I mean, like looking back to the last year and the year before, as far as May goes for hogfish, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, March, April, May is kind of like my month that I like to fish for them. So, I'm definitely ready to get back out there and make it pop again.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited. Hopefully those hogs will continue biting up for us through May, even once we get started back up.
Last couple of years we've been getting them, pretty much year round. I mean, we had where it slows down a little bit, but I feel like we've had many days in every month of the year where we've caught 20 in a day or more. I almost don't feel like there's that much of a season for them. I think they're almost year round. And yeah, when the water is super duper clear, you do want to lighten up on tackle, for sure, in my opinion. Really 20 pound is where you can be easily all year round with that. It's just, when the gags are in or something like that, you got almost no shit, because those gags pop the shrimp all the time. And if you're not using something heavier than 20, a hogfish is about all you're going to get up with, maybe it's, some mangoes. But.
Hey, yeah. Frank.
Yes, sir.
Some of your best catches wasn't the water a little dirtier?
Yeah, a little bit dirtier, and that's why we were using, we switched over those red beads, and they were still getting them on the naked ball jigs, but just we're still I really think that those red beads we were using may have helped just brighten it up just a little bit. I don't know if it's real or not, or if it was just the actual clacking of the beads. We still never really figured out why they're hitting those beads, but I really think it's just the beads actually knocking against each other. It was causing them to bite, and I think that if you have a couple of those beads on when the water's a little dirty, that you got a little bit better shot at getting them because of the clacking of them. You know what I'm saying? How if you ever heard those pistol shrimp, you can actually hear them. Where they're snapping their claws. You can hear that stuff, all that stuff underwater. It's So, did that answer your question? I don't know.
Yeah, I recall you catching a lot of fish during in dirty water. I mean, exceptional amount, like 50, 60 head.
Yeah.
You always have a handful.
Yeah. I do feel like the water being a little bit dirtier, a little bit. I'm not saying where they can't see anything. Like a 10-foot visit or 6 to 10-foot visibility probably is, where we do pretty well. They come to the area and from all the shrimp being in the water, and they I feel like just a little bit of haze to the water makes a difference.
Yeah, and I think as well that the hazier water keeps divers out of the water, and I really feel confident in the fact that once the free divers and the scuba divers get down there and they start really hammering on them hogfish, it slows down the bite a little bit because they get a little bit more skittish. They have a lot more pressure on them. So this time of the year when the water's a little chillier and it's dirty, it keeps those divers away from those hogfish, and I think it makes it a little easier to target them on hook and line too.
Yeah.
But Will, you got a 39-hour trip coming up here, hopefully this coming Friday. You excited to get back out there?
Oh, I'm really excited to get back out there. And even, there's been a lot of people fishing inshore and not many people fishing offshore, I'm sure. But even the inshore fish, these fish have had less pressure on them in the last month than they have in years and years and years. So,
yeah. And then also
good fishing to come from this. There's good fishing to come from this.
And then also May, we got amberjack opening up too. So you ready to gaff some big jacks?
Oh, and last year we had a great May season on the amberjacks. I think we had 100-pounder was the biggest one, and they get bigger than that.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Last year May wasn't open for harvest.
Oh, okay. Roger got 100-pound. Was that 2 years ago now?
It must have been, yeah.
I'm getting old. But no, it's a good time of year to get out there fishing. And since this closure, the commercial boats haven't even been fishing. So there's no pressure out there past 60 miles right now. None.
Hopefully.
And we're looking forward to some good fishing out there when the time comes.
Yeah, it should definitely be a great opportunity to get back out there. And hopefully, for those of you at home, hopefully we're planning and hoping and praying that we can open up Friday, May 1st. That's our goal, and that's our that's what we're planning for. But there's a few things that could affect that. I know some of you have watched the show. You've heard this before, but I want to reiterate it to everybody that we are ultimately waiting to hear from the state, because the state has that stay-at-home order in effect right now. And once that state stay-at-home order expires April 30th, they will most likely send out some type of new order. And hopefully that new order will allow for a phased reopening. So allowing some of us that are closed to open up operations again. And then also followed by the state making a recommendation. Then the county, Pinellas County, will come in behind and say XYZ. So right now the state could very well say you're good to go, open up May 1st, let's go fishing. But then the county could come in behind them and then add more restrictive things saying, yeah, the rest of the state is good, but in Pinellas County, we're not allowing you to open. So there are some things at play that we're waiting to confirm and find out this week, probably. I know Governor DeSantis is going to talk Monday morning or Monday Monday midday sometime and do his state briefing. So we'll have the information from the state of Florida. And then hopefully sometime Monday afternoon, Tuesday, Pinellas County Commission will have an opportunity to meet. We'll have an update for you hopefully by Tuesday at the latest. That's the goal. But right now it's out of our hands and unfortunately in control of the state and local government. So as soon as we know, you'll know. If you have a reservation, we're going to call you, email you, text you to confirm, say, hey, we're good to go. Or we're going to call you, email you, text you and say, hey, we're going to have to push it back because the state said this or the county said this. So hopefully we'll be open and go fishing May 1st. That's the goal, right? And hopefully we're going to go get some big amberjack, right, Will?
That's absolutely right. And DeSantis seems like he wants to open up the state. You know, he wants to get us back going again. But
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. We're absolutely ready to be fishing. I haven't not been fishing in 45 days in the Gulf of Mexico in a long time.
Yeah, ain't that right?
Yeah, for real.
15 years.
I mean, we've been around since 1928, almost 100 years, and this is the first closure that's lasted any length of time. I mean, Dad, can you ever think of a time that Hubbard's Marina closed for more than 12 hours?
No. Hurricanes, we bounce right back and get right back into it and go get that hurricane bite. No, this is something. This is first time ever.
I guess Irma was probably our longest closure. Irma, we were closed for 2 weeks with that incident. So that was probably our longest closure up into this. I mean, today we've been closed since...
How long ago was that, D?
Irma was... You had to call me out. I think it was
4 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago.
It seemed like it was longer than that. That's why I asked.
Yeah. I mean, we've been closed at this point for 33 days. By the time we hopefully open up May 1st, it'll be almost 40 days being closed.
Yeah, I remember when that Hurricane Charlie, Daniel, and Ivan, I think, came through here, and I think that was probably 14 years ago, and we had like
That's when I moved here.
we had probably in 5 weeks we ran like 5 trips. It was just because the weather was just relentless, and the water was so damn dirty.
Yeah.
You know, it was just terrible. We were able to get out there, but you know, it was between hurricane after hurricane after hurricane. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that makes it difficult for sure with the weather. So let's get into some questions. We've definitely got a lot of questions now here. So this question is for you, Will. It says, I'm getting ready to book my first 39-hour trip. I am a bigger guy. My only concern is being able to get comfortable in the bunks. What do you think about that?
All right, comfortable in the bunks, a bottom bunk, and downstairs preferably. Upstairs, you would just have to walk upstairs to get into your bottom bunk. And if you want to sleep upstairs in the open air, which some people probably do right now, the bunks 55 and 56 are a little bit bigger than the rest of the bunks.
Those are big boy bunks.
They're upstairs.
Yeah, I mean, me as a big guy, I really prefer bunk 55 or 56.
Yeah, he sleeps there.
Yeah, that's where I go. I mean, those are my favorite bunks because you get a little bit of extra room, and it's a big metal box you're sleeping on instead of like the other bunks that are suspended. I mean, to me, being 330 pounds, I feel good sleeping on some metal, you know. But they're good, comfortable bunks. I mean, they're I don't know, probably at least 6 foot long, nice 6 inches of foam. Super comfortable, even if you're a bigger guy like me.
And that bunk adds about 6 or 8 inches of space to the normal bunk.
Yeah, and
I sleep out there too.
The trick I use is I bring an extra, like I bring a sleeping bag, I bring a sheet, but I'll even bring some towels so that way you can wedge it in there if you're in 55 and 56 and make it even a little bit more room. So
that's where Will and Jason snuggle up in there a lot, don't they?
Yeah, Will and Jason, every time I leave my bunk, I come back, they're underneath all my towels. It's real weird.
But there is a small gap between the wall and the bunk, and if you fill that gap in, then you have an even bigger bunk.
That's what he's talking about with the towels, I think.
Yes, that's what he's talking about.
Pro tip. All right, so let's see here. The next question Is it okay to come fish out around the beach yet? So right now, yes, you can come out and fish on the beach behind Hubbard's Marina. You can fish on the jetty of John's Pass. You can fish from the bridge at John's Pass. However, the beach public parking is closed, so you have to find a place to park, which typically a lot of people are parking in the parking garage in front of our office or in some of those metered spots. Just keep in mind that it is all paid parking. So as long as you don't mind coming down and paying for your parking, you're welcome to fish anywhere. Keep in mind we don't control parking. That's why I remind everybody that it's paid parking, because I have seen some tickets going out right now. Those parking people don't play. Even
Hey,
with the
Dylan.
virus going on, they're still ticketing. So be careful.
Hey,
What'd you
Dylan.
say?
How about the bait shop? Maybe are we open with live bait? So for the people if they want to come fishing.
I wish we were. We're entirely closed right now. So the best place around us to get live bait, hopefully we'll open up May 1st. Once we open up May 1st, we'll have live bait available. But until that time, Don's Dock is open at the east end of the boardwalk. So the opposite end of the boardwalk from us. Don's Dock is doing to-go bait sales. And then Rick's Custom Rods is open. Bay Pines Bait and Tackle is open. They all got live bait you can call ahead, but Don's Dock is easy. It's right inside John's Pass. It's not a long walk from that beach to go get some shrimp, but good addition there, Frank. So let's see here. So the next question is, I'm going on a 12-hour extreme Friday. Is there any updates on that video that you made on what to bring? Has anything changed? I mean, to me, on a 12-hour extreme trip, that video is still pretty right on as far as how to pack and what to pack. But you might want to pare down your tackle right now, because that video is geared towards big gag grouper and amberjack fishing right now. Since gags are closed, we have been using a little lighter tackle to target those mangrove snapper and red grouper. But I guess starting this Friday, amberjack will be open. So Will, I'll let you field this question, since a 12-hour extreme is a lot like a 39-hour trip. Obviously a 12-hour extreme, you don't have as much room, so you can only bring maybe 1 or 2 rods and very limited tackle. But if you were going on a 12-hour extreme, what would you bring, Will?
Yeah, it's a limited tackle boat, but I would want to bring 2 or 3 rods if you have all the equipment. 1 rod for grouper, amberjack grouper mixed rod, then maybe a lighter rod for snapper and porgies and stuff like that. And if you're after some meat fishing, a chicken rig rod where you fish with 2 or 3 hooks and some squid, But that would be max on that. You can't bring a ton of rods on there and try to fish all of them. It just doesn't work like that. But a grouper rod, and sometimes if the groupers are biting or the big fish are biting, you'll just fish that big fish rod all day. But if the bite's tough, you got to bring a smaller rod, and you can try for some smaller fish out there while you're there, and they're just as good eating as any of the big ones.
So being as though amberjack is just about to open May 1st, everybody being excited about that, what would you recommend for amberjack tackle, Will?
Okay, amberjack tackle, yes. Heavy. You can fish 80-pound main line with a 100-pound leader if you want to, and an 8-aught hook. As long as you're fishing with a big enough bait for that. If you've got a small bait, you got to fish the bait the size. You got to fish a hook the size of the bait that you're fishing. But a lot of times on the 2, you guys will go out and try to catch some baits for those amberjacks before you go out there. And you'll catch some big squirrel fish or some porgies or whatever you may catch. And you got to have a big hook, a 100-pound leader. The jacks are not scared of the leader. And 80-pound main line. Check your drag. If you don't know about the drag, ask the crew on the way out, and they'll check your drag for you.
Yeah, well, on the 2, they check it for you once they stop, because it's not like the Florida.
No, it won't be fun once they're moving. But if you're not sure about what you got, get with the crew. If you got 80 and 100-pound line for those amberjacks, you're going to be fine. But you got to have the right drag setting on there. If it's too tight, you're going to snap fish off over and over again. And if it's too loose, you can end up getting tangled up with people around the boat, and then those people they think they've got a fish on, and they pull your fish off sometimes.
So when you talk about getting the drag set properly, a lot of people ask, well, what should I set the drag at? How many pounds? I always talk about like percentage of drag. I mean, to
Yeah,
me, when I'm
pounds is
fishing,
tough for me.
go
Yeah, I
ahead.
don't know pounds really.
Yeah.
But what I do, and Captain Garrett would recommend you the same thing, is wrap the line around your hand one time, pull hard. You want the line to come out, but you don't want it to come out easily. If it slides right out, tighten your drag up a little bit. If it
Yeah.
doesn't come out at all when you pull hard, loosen it up a little bit.
Yeah, and what I always heard Garrett say, and what I've heard my dad say, and other captains, is wrap it around your hand one time and pull. And when you're grouper fishing, you should almost not be able to pull any line out, or maybe not at all pull any line
Just
out.
one.
If you're
Grouper's not gonna
amberjack,
pull much.
what?
Yeah, that grouper's, you turn him on the bottom and you got him, but amberjack a little bit different.
Yeah. So for amberjack fishing, once you wrap that line around your hand and you pull that line out, you should be able to pull some line out, but it should be difficult and it should leave line marks across your hand. It should hurt your hand. If you got braided line, don't do this.
Don't pull really hard on the braided line.
And you don't want to fish braided line for amberjacks anyway.
No.
Yeah. It's terrible. I mean, I remember we were deep drop fishing on the Flying Hub 2 before, and I hooked an amberjack on braided line because we were using braided line for our deep drop
That
reels,
does happen, yeah.
and it kicks your butt. It is no fun to fish an amberjack. I mean, Dad, what do you think? What do you like using?
I like using 150-pound braid with a 130-pound top shot and a 130-pound leader with my electric reel. Nice soft rod, nice big 8-foot Harrington. So that takes all the beating.
So electric reel, 130-pound test, and how big of a hook?
Solid 10 aught.
Monster
Short.
hooks.
Yeah, got to use a big bait.
So when you say big bait, like what do you mean?
Like big beeliner, I reckon, or big.
He means a big porgy.
Yeah.
Well, something that I take it off my overall bag limit, of course.
Yeah, we go over some of the stuff. What I was getting at there is there's some species of fish that we can't use for bait. So we talk about that on the way out. And Will help you get set up on a 39-hour. If you're on a 12-hour stream, the captain and crew will help you get set up too. Tell you what you can use, what you can't use. But they've recently changed some of those rules. So we always are flexible and moving with the time. So those regulations have changed recently. And luckily for you, we keep up with them and we'll let you know during the trip to help you guys out and make sure that everybody's staying safe and staying within the regulations. But first things first, I think it's about time to give away one of these free fishing trips. So remember, we're going to do a random drawing of all the people who have commented on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. So you got to be on the Hubbard's Marina page on Facebook, comment one time, you're entered to win. Now, we're going to pick a lucky winner, and if you are chosen as that lucky winner, make sure you text that number in the upper right-hand corner immediately with your home address. That proves that you are watching the show live, and that will mail you out the certificate once we reopen. So give us a little bit of patience with that. But let's pull this thing up here and see who won. So, lucky winner of the 5-hour half day for 2 guests. 5-hour half day for 2 people is Brian Engel with the good evening comment. Congratulations, Brian Engel. Make sure you go ahead and shoot me that text, Brian, to claim your free trip. And don't forget, guys, we still have those 10-hour all-day trips for 2 guests, and we hopefully have a 39-hour trip for 2 guests as well. Right now we're at 380 live viewers already. We just need about 20 more people to join for that free 39-hour fishing trip. So let's keep going on these questions. Next question is, how often do you change the fishing line on your reels? Is it the same for the reels and poles? I would say the line on the reel gets changed out probably every 6 to 12 months. depending on what happened. A lot of times it's sooner than that because, for example, if there is a bad backlash or something happens with someone not using the reel properly, or if the reel needs service, the line gets turned over or totally replaced often. I don't know, Frank, how long would you say our rental reels have fishing line on them for?
Yeah, I'm actually glad you asked me on that because I was sitting here thinking about it. And what we try to do on every trip, and we take 2 to 4 reels each time, each day, and we take the two crappiest, lowest spooled, reels, and we respool them every day. And so what that does is, I mean, if you just if it was the average break off, where you break off 30 feet at the bottom or something each time, and just after days and days of doing that, it just tends to get low, and we'll strip the worst ones out, respool them, and doing 2 to 4 a day. I think your estimate of 6 to 8 months was a lot more than how it really goes. I would say that those reels probably on average get stripped probably once every 2 months.
Yeah, we go through a lot of line, that's for sure. So the line on the reels doesn't last long. If you're sitting at home asking about if this question is geared towards your personal gear, that's a little different. Our rental reels are used a lot. We get a lot of repetition on that line, so that's why it gets changed out a lot. For your personal tackle, if you're fishing a lot, maybe change once a year. If you're not fishing so much, and your reel is stored inside, out of the garage, it's not in sunlight, it's not getting dry rotted. If it's inside in climate controlled conditions and you're good about rinsing it down, I mean, your line can sometimes last 2 years if you're not using and abusing it. So it really depends on the brand line, the quality of the line, but at least once a year you want to look at your line. What I do a lot of times is every month or two just pull out 20 yards, 30 yards, and look what that line looks like. If it still looks healthy, then you're good to go. Maybe pull out 10, 20 feet every time you go fishing to keep fresh line. But if you pull out 20, 30 yards of line and all of a sudden you see that it's stress cracked or looking dry, then it might be a good idea to change your line. I don't know. What do you think, Dad? How often do you change out your line?
I got line probably 5 years old. It's my line's a little bit heavier, but like say mangrove snapper stuff, 3 or 4 years old. But I keep it
that background's still holding up for you, Cap. I heard.
I start popping lines left and right. I change it out.
That's when you change your line. If you feel like you broke a fish off because your line, that's when you change it.
Yeah.
Or you could not wait that long.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
Captain Mark might wait till 3 or 4.
6 months.
That stuff's expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive, man.
I don't know. I get mine for free.
Oh, Frank's in trouble. Let's see. Let's move on. So the next question was, he asked, how often do you change the line on your reels? But what about the reels and the rods? I would say our rental reels and rods get switched out about the same as the line every 6 to 8 months. I would say 12 months is a really long time for one of our rental rods and reels to be in service and not out of service, freshened up, or totally replaced. We are blessed to work with Bass Pro Shops and have a great store locally who provides us with a lot of tackle whenever we need it, essentially. So I would say probably every year or so we get a huge number of new tackle, new rods, new reels to start putting into service, and occasionally even more often than that, depending on what's going on and what's happening around the docks. I don't know, Will, how often do you get new reels?
The reels are, you just wait till that thing starts messing up. You take it in the shop once, they fix it, and then after that you start thinking about getting a new reel. The rod, Captain Mark will tell you, some rods like that Harrington he was speaking of, they can last for decades. And all you got to do is get it reglassed sometimes. But if you're buying the average Walmart rod and reel, 1 year, get
Yeah.
you a new one the next year.
Yeah. And it kind of depends on the products that you're purchasing. If you're, again, like Will was talking about, personal tackle, and that's what it comes down to. It depends on how often you're using it, how much abuse you're putting on it. But yeah, the real, a lot of times, as long as you're servicing it, you're cleaning it off right at the end of the trip, you're using that cleanse oil and keeping it lubricated and cleaned inside the reel. If you have problems, maybe get it serviced one time. But yeah, it definitely, they have a lifespan for sure. They have an expiration date. I know Frank most of the time loses his before he has to get a new one
Oh,
because
that's bull crap, man. I still have the same rods and reels that I had from 6-7 years ago, man.
I shouldn't say lose. I should say leaves on the boat and they walk away kind of deal. But
Oh yeah, well you get that. You get those dirt bags.
yeah,
Very very seldom. I've
I've never given you those rods back, by the way, Frank.
yeah.
that's. So the next question is, can you go over what people who are scheduled for May 1st should expect? So right now we are still formulating our policies and procedures. We actually have a meeting coming up Monday to talk more about that. But essentially what we're doing is for the office, we're going to make it a lot like Publix, how we have a one-way flow. You'll enter through the front door, you'll exit through the back door. So when you arrive, you'll unload your gear, you'll go into the office in the front door, you'll exit through the back door. We'll have tape on the ground, we'll have screens up, so the ladies behind the counter are behind plexiglass, so you're protected and we're protected from sneezes, coughs, that kind of thing. Then once you get through the office and out of the checkout process, instead of grouping everybody in the waiting area or on the benches, we're going to have everybody spread out throughout that crossing or throughout that parking area. So we have plenty of room out front to spread everybody out, make sure no one's standing within 6 feet of another party. And then once we start loading, we're going to load as best we can in order of arrival. So if you arrive first, you're going to get an opportunity to go down to the boat first. Then once you go down to the boat, we're going to send the next group, that kind of thing. So we're going to do the best we can at the office during the waiting process and during the boarding process of keeping everybody separated. On the boat, that's the process we're still working out and perfecting right now, but ultimately I feel that it's going to boil down to a lot of self-regulation, because as always, if we have 20 people on the boat, 15 of those 20 people for some reason book the back quarter of the boat for some unknown reason. I mean, everybody and their brother says, I want to fish the stern. I want to fish the stern. So if people want to fish the stern, we're going to do the best we can to tell them the rules, the regulations, and the policies, and we're going to do the best we can to enforce it. But ultimately, if someone puts to endanger themselves or get close to another group fishing the stern, the groups have a chance to separate. There's tons of room on the boat. It's 70-foot long boat. There's 160 feet of rail space. There's no reason that you shouldn't be able to stay 6 feet apart from people who aren't in your group. And that's a key topic too. A lot of people think, I'm going fishing with my buddy Captain Frank, I have to stay 6 feet away from him. That's not how it works. You have to stay 6 feet away from people who are not in your group. So if you and your buddy Captain Frank are going fishing, you can stand arm in arm. You drove together. You were in the same freaking car on the way to the boat, so you can stand together on the boat. But it's the other groups that you have to stay away from, or should stay away from. And that's what we're going to talk about Monday, perfecting those different policies and regulations. So to answer your question, Ken, we don't have one in place yet. But I don't know, Will, what do you think? Trying to get people to separate on the stern is going to be difficult. Hang on. There you go. Start over.
The stern is going to be the hardest part, but I think everybody is kind of in agreement with, we need to spread apart right now. And if we have to fish a three to four people on the stern, one spot, then rotate and do 3 rotations on the stern, throughout the trip, then with the guys that fish the stern, and if that gets us going fishing, and otherwise we wouldn't be fishing and you guys wouldn't be fishing the stern, then that's what we're going to have to do. And if we have people equally spread out around the boat, as long as the current's not an issue, it shouldn't matter at all. The fishing spot shouldn't matter at all. As long as you guys are spread out around the boat, and
yeah,
which we can spread out big time.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the spot you booked is the spot you booked, but we have to try to open up and go fishing. And if you want to go fishing, we're going to provide you a way to go fishing, but you got to work with us to make
And
sure that we
you
can
can't
keep
fish
taking you
shoulder
fishing.
to shoulder. You can't shoulder to shoulder fish on the stern, right? As the regulations are right now, you can't everybody fish on the stern. So we're gonna have to work something out where we just move,
It's a work in progress. What do you think,
It's a
Dad?
work in progress. Yes. But dude, the fish are fighting. Nobody's been out there fishing for a long time. I know you guys are ready to go fishing, and whatever we got to do, let's get out there and go fishing.
What do you think,
That's
Dad?
how I feel about it.
Every third spot.
Yeah, we're gonna work it out. It'll work itself out. And like what I was mentioning is, I think it's gonna fall a lot to self-policing. Like myself, for example, if I had booked the stern and I showed up and I see that there's 20 people on the trip and 18 of us have booked the stern, I'm going to be like, hey, Will, can I fish up the side a little bit? I don't really care that much about this stern spot. And that way we're going to be able to spread out, because people are going to spread themselves out, hopefully. And we'll be there to work with everybody and hopefully massage that a little bit. But it's definitely going to be a work in progress. It's a fluid target, and it's something we're going to have to work at and see if we can make it work. If we open May 1st and no one's willing to work with us and it's really, really difficult to keep people separated, we're going to get shut down, or we're going to shut ourselves down to keep everybody safe. So it's definitely a moving target, something we're going to be working towards, and see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Spread them out, guys. Spread out around them. But you guys want to go fishing, we got to spread out and stay safe.
Yeah.
So let's figure it out.
Frank, this next question is for you. How does Captain Frank always know exactly where the fish are, especially the hogfish?
Monkey, did you text that one in? Or was that you, Mark?
No, it was Mike I can never pronounce his name. Mike Swazadell.
Samsonite.
Samsonite.
Well, man, I got a fish finder. I got a really good fish finder. I don't know what else to say about it.
You're welcome.
Maybe I tend to fish much smaller ledges than what you would fish on a smaller boat. I think I don't know.
And you got to soak the grunts out.
The thing is with the when you're trying to, but when you're on these bigger boats, they tend to you can see smaller breaks than what you could on a small boat. Even if you were going really, really slowly, like our big boats go, you can't see what we see because it's more steady. Now you could see a 1 or 2 foot break when it's glass calm out there. But what's everyone doing when it's glass calm out there? They're hauling the butt everywhere they want to go, and because they're like, oh, I can get out 50 miles. Well, that's the times where we're still going slow. And even in the 1 or 2 foot chop, you can still see those breaks with that big boat because it's just steady. And I write everything down. I write it down. Write it down, and then.
Real quick, not to interrupt you. So what Frank is referring to is being able to see the bottom on the bottom machine. So often people are really confused on how to read the bottom machine, and then once you dial in on reading the bottom machine, if you're on a smaller boat that's moving up and down, your bottom machine then is going to create these little ripples, and it's hard to see small ledges. Anybody can find a 5 foot, 6 foot break. But finding a 1 foot break or a 2 foot break is much more difficult because A, you have to be moving slow, and then B, it has to be a super calm day. But on our larger boats, we're already moving slower than most boats. And because they're so large, they're not moving up and down. So he's got a real good solid feel for the bottom. That's what you were trying to say, right, Frank?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I still write everything down. I watch that bottom machine like it's a television all day. Like I'm constantly looking at it when I'm moving, constantly looking at it. And when I see something, just something that's different, that's out of place, or it's not what it looks like everywhere else, that's the stuff that I fish. And And I fish a lot of stuff that I don't even see any fish on top of it. You know what I mean? Because I just know, you just know that they're there when it's that particular kind of rocky bottom with that small ledge, and you just have to believe and trust that they're there. And you know, and what I do is I'll fish. I try to fish one or two new spots a day. Every day, I try to make sure I hit one or two new spots. And if they're good, I write them down. And if they're not good, I cross them right off. But if I see big, it's a good rule of thumb that if I see big grunts coming up, even if it's just 5 or 6 of them, that nobody's fishing them. If I see those big, 1.5 pound grunts come up, that nobody's fishing that spot, and that's when I'll tell people, hey, let's all try some shrimp here, and I just give it a 5 or 10 minute window, because we always trying to start them off with using squid, and then we switch them over to shrimp, and we'll get on those shrimp for for 5 or 10 minutes just to see if, even if one hogfish pops up, I'll sit there an extra 5 minutes, and then if another one pops up, 5 minutes, and then what happens sometimes after 20 minutes, those things just go off, and and you write that spot down. But I have my flops just as much as everyone on a new spot, that I swear is going to hold fish, and if we don't see anything come up, well, I just scratch it off, and maybe I'll cross over it one other day, but I don't put them all in my computer. Only the ones that provide for us, and if they don't provide, then they don't go in there. So
yeah. So you would say probably how you know where the fish are is you fish often, you watch your bottom machine, you write down any numbers that look suspicious, you check them out, and if they're good, you write them down, you save them in your machine if you catch fish there.
That's right.
And that's the trick I always tell people is in these smaller boats that go 40 mile an hour, when you're going out to a spot, what my dad always taught me, what everybody always says who knows what they're doing, when you're heading out to that spot at 40, 50 miles an hour, it's really hard to accurately see the bottom. So if you're heading out to a spot, slow down when you're getting close. So like, let's say I got a 25-mile run. At 22 miles or 23 miles, I'll slow the boat down, and as I'm coming up to the spot, you're idling up to the spot or going a little slower so you can accurately see the bottom, especially if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of area. If you're new to offshore fishing, if you just bought a boat, look at one of those top spots charts or look at one of those public recs, put in that number in your machine, and then when you get close to that area, slow down and start looking for hard bottom and looking for breaks. But Dad, you want to add anything to that?
No, you pretty well explained it.
So, I mean, watching your bottom machine is key. If you're riding out there and you're drinking a beer, talking to your buddy with your bottom machine off, it's a surefire sign you're not going to find that hogfish honey hole or that next really hot fishing spot. So often I'll be talking to a buddy and he's like, oh yeah, I've got great numbers. Me and my buddy just went out there yesterday and I'm talking to him. He's like, I want to find new numbers. Well, on your way out to that spot where you're watching your bottom machine, he's like, what do you mean? There's your problem. So that's what it comes down to, is just repetition and having a good crew, right? Well, all right, so let's see, next question.
Let's give away a trip.
Oh, you're right. It is time for another trip. Thanks for the reminder. So a 10-hour all-day fishing trip is next for 2 people. 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. Let's see who the lucky winner of that trip is. 10-hour all-day for 2 guests. Lucky winner is Michael Matson Sr. Michael Matson Sr. is the lucky winner of that 10-hour all day for 2 people. Make sure you text your home address to that number in the upper right-hand corner, Michael Matson Jr. or Sr. to claim your free trip. And let me make sure to write down your name. I hate when I do that. So let's see here. The next question is, when are ramps open near the sky? What ramps are open near the Skyway that are 24 hours? I have no idea. Gandy, I think, is open 24 hours. Will, do you have an idea?
All I could say is, if you want to go fishing overnight, you can park a trailer in most ramps and leave it there overnight and come back the next morning, load your boat, and get out of there.
Hey,
All right.
can I say something, Dylan?
Yeah.
Hey, I went across the Skyway today. Actually, I didn't take notice about the ramp situation, but I'll tell you what, it was really awesome seeing how many people are out fishing right now.
It's
Dylan,
Was
nuts.
it ramped up?
I have never seen so many people fishing off the shore. Like, I mean, not even a tenth of it. It is incredible the way people have said, you know what, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to go fishing. And it's like, it's just great to see people doing that.
Now, I just got back from North Carolina, as some of you guys know, and the first
Weird.
week I was up there, it was crazy boats everywhere on the water. But the last week I went out, they scared everyone off the water in North and South Carolina. We were one of the only boats on the water on a Sunday on a popular lake. And
Yeah.
that hasn't happened here, but they scared them off of the water up in North Carolina.
It kind of went in waves here. Like when things first started shutting down, like when Hubbard's Marina closed March 23rd, that next weekend and that following week, it was like July 4th times 10.
Same
it was
up there.
crazy. But then once we started getting into April, I saw a little decline in boats. But I mean, I go down to the marina every morning for about 2 to 3 hours, and a lot of time is spent on the boardwalk doing the videos, as you guys watch most of them in the morning. But it's incredible how many boats are parading out of the pass, and then also coming back to the pass later in the afternoon occasionally to check on things or to go to the bank or whatever. It's crazy how many people are fishing from shore. You're right, Frank. A lot of people are just getting out and getting some sun and trying to catch some fish.
Yeah, that strip that runs down the side of Skyway, man, it was mobbed today, man. There was I kid you not, there was a person fishing every probably 25 feet. There was another person there. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot of space. And there was hundreds of people sitting in lawn chairs, just throwing their shrimp out there and corks and whatnot. It was cool to see, man. It was like I've never seen. It was like they were having a fishing tournament there.
Are you talking about the Skyway fishing piers?
No, not the piers. I think the piers
they're closed. Yeah.
I was coming. I was heading south Sarasota, and this was on the north side along the bank there. There's an area there where they're kind of near the rest area.
Okay.
The rest area, of course, is closed, but yeah, it was pretty incredible to see. I mean, it was hundreds. There was hundreds and hundreds of people there.
That's crazy. That's how it is in Johns Pass. It's nuts. So the next question is for Will. Will looks like he took a potty break. The one question he had is, on the overnight trips, is it possible to fish for giant porgies? And it's definitely possible. I've seen some massive porgies come up on that 39.
Yeah, but how do you fish for a giant porgy?
James, why did I just see a huge flash of light on your camera? Did they just light the fire or something?
Will just threw some gas on it.
Yeah, Will must have thrown gas on the fire. Is that what just happened?
Yeah, I may need to call the fire department real quick. So.
His face, I'm watching you, Frank, but I see in the corner of the screen, his face just turned red. There was so much light.
I saw one big burst of fire, and you see me like trying to do the no, and then there's another big burst of fire, and it's by our tents that we have set up. Oh,
Yeah,
there's
there
another
it is.
right there. Yeah, so
Will's throwing gas on the fire right now.
Oh, that's it. That's probably his kid.
yeah, like if I get up, then you know why.
Oh, that is funny. Captain Frank, do you have any fishing superstitions?
Well, that's a good one. That everyone talks about the bananas on the boat. It doesn't really bother me, but I play along with it. But superstitions, man, not really. I mean, just every day's a different day out there, and it's. I just don't have any, none whatsoever.
Yeah. Will.
I've got a great fishing superstition.
All right, go for it.
I just walked in on this. If you've got everything you need, if you come fully prepared for everything you could possibly need, you're not going to catch anything.
Amen. Amen to that one.
Never,
I agree. I've been there. That
Yeah,
happened.
The more rods you bring, the less fish you catch.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true.
If you got bait, chum, full of gas, all the rods you need, you tied up fresh leaders, it's going to be a tough trip, boys.
Yeah, that's why Will loves to forget things. Is that why? You
Yeah,
just want to
that's
make
why
us
he
lucky?
only brings pliers with him.
We're headed out. I'm like, dude, we got too much of everything.
Someone throws something off the back. So that is funny though, because a lot of times, like when you go fishing and you don't bring your landing net, that's when you catch your biggest snook. Or when
That's what's gonna happen. Yeah.
yeah, you go sheep's head fishing and forget the cooler. That's when you catch a ton of sheep's head, that kind of thing.
Guys, I've resorted to this now. I'm out of beer.
You started with that. Don't lie to us.
I mean, there's probably some liquor in there I didn't want to search.
So, Will, this question's for you. After so many 39-hour trips, is there something in particular that you're missing about your job since fishing is shut down?
Being away from the wife.
Yeah, dude. I've been no away from the wife one. Yes, like James Exotic says, but dude, that's a really fun trip, and being gone for this long, I'm going to be almost excited as the customers are the next time we get to go out. I haven't been out fishing in almost 45 days now. I'm not sure, but I would guess almost 45 days now. Big catfish fishing in North Carolina, but I like fishing just as much as you guys do. That's why I started doing this, and I'm ready to get back out there.
Yeah, amen to
But
that.
the thing I would miss the most about it, I'm not sure.
Jason?
Jay and I would hang out. He spent the night at my house last night.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So the next question is for you, Frank. On hog snapper, is it better to stay with light tackle?
I love fishing the light tackle. I use just that, and people may disagree with me on the sides I use, but I'm running right now with a 2500 Daiwa Saltus spinning reel that I got from Hubbard's, and I love it. And I didn't get it for free though, but I paid for it, and I love that reel. And 20-pound leader line is kind of where I like to be with it.
Frank, what was your dream job in high school?
Huh. Did somebody really put that?
I swear, I'm not making these up.
He was a masseuse. He was a masseuse for a little while.
That's so funny. I wanted to be a fishing boat captain. I really did all my life, and I wasn't expecting my life to go that way. I didn't even. I started. I went to college for a little while, a couple of years, and then I thought I was going to go to school for accounting, and then somehow I ended up working for NASA in Washington D.C. And then I left there to pursue my dream as a boat captain.
Then you met Glenn.
It is what it is.
Will, what about you? What was your dream job in high school? That was for Frank, but I'm going to ask you too.
I'm from North Carolina, but my mom tells me like I did these projects in kindergarten and first grade, and they were all about Florida.
Nice.
And so eventually I moved down to Florida, and I love fishing, dude. I fished forever. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida.
I do have to say, you're probably one of the most fishing addicted people that I know. I mean, when you're not working, you're down.
I've done it so long. I want you guys to go out there and catch a fish now. I've called them all now. I want you guys to get out there and get a big one and come back and have a good time and post the pictures. That's where I'm at in my fishing career.
Yeah,
now.
that's the truth. It's way more fun to see somebody else's smiling, happy face when they catch one. I want
you to get one now.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Captain Mark knows. Captain Mark caught me a few of my biggest fish.
Yeah, 110 amberjack.
Mm-hmm. And a 58-pound black grouper.
Yeah.
What about that Cubera? Where'd that come from?
Who was Cubera? Captain Brian, maybe.
Will or Garrett got that big boy, that 110-pounder. Brian had that 92-pounder.
Oh, yeah. And then Garrett and I caught an 82-pound wahoo together. I thought it was a shark, so I let him fight it, and it ended up being an 82-pound wahoo.
Wasn't that caught on a porgy rig?
On a chicken rig, yeah.
Chicken rig? Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
story.
Yeah, that's like the
we got some good times. The Gulf of Mexico is very unpredictable. You know,
yeah.
so a lot of you guys know that.
That's like that 88-pound wahoo that Captain Bobby and Smokey got on a 12-hour red snapper trip on the Friendly. They were only 40 miles, and a kid caught it on 40-pound test line and like a 4,000 series spinning reel.
That was a big one.
Yeah.
That was a real big one. I think that was bigger than the one that Garrett and I. It was at least the same size as the one Garrett and I got.
The one you and Garrett had was monstrous. I thought that was more like 92, if I remember
It was
correctly.
82 gutted. It was 82 gutted.
Oh.
It had some guts in it.
See, I just rounded up.
Yeah. But great fish. You know, you got the chance to catch a fish of a lifetime out there at certain times of year, and this is actually one of those times of year right now. You know, spring, fall, pre-summer, even middle of summer's time for big wahoos.
You never know.
Never know.
The best time to go fishing is any time you have the opportunity. That's what I always tell
get out
people.
fishing, guys, if they're letting us go fishing, get out there and go fishing. You know,
Too busy.
If you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too busy. So the next question is, are you still running gift certificate deals, and do they expire? The gift certificate deal is still going on. It ends April 30th. We were running that the entire time we've been closed. Even if we don't open up May 1st, which hopefully we're praying that we do, but even if we don't open up May 1st, that deal is not extending past April 30th. So April 30th is your last day to get that 20% off gift certificate deal. You can buy it on our website right now. You can just simply go on to hubbardsmarina.com, and right from our homepage, you can go to store and then click gift certificates. So right from the home page, click gift certificates. Once you're on that gift certificates page, there's a little blue button that says buy gift certificates. You use coupon code Hubbards, but make sure you read the policies. The gift certificates are good from a year from the purchase date. So 1 year from the purchase date, those gift certificates are good. And coupon code Hubbards to get that 20% off. And then we're going to have our office open for phone calls only. Tuesday, April 28th, Wednesday, April 29th, and Thursday, April 30th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we are planning to have the office open for calls Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 10 a.m. to 3, so you can make reservations and you can call us and buy those gift certificates over the phone before that deal ends. So make sure you take advantage of that deal for sure, because it won't come around again until Black Friday. So it'll be a while. So make sure you take advantage of that deal while you can. But we are just about out of time here. Frank, you want to throw anything in last minute here?
I miss all you guys, man. I just want to get back to work.
I miss you too. What about you, Will, Monkey?
Yeah, I hope you regulars aren't suffering too bad. We, as far as the Hubbard's crew, I'll speak for the Hubbard's crew. We've maintained through this isolation time, but we're ready for it to be over with, you know. And glad to see you guys, and I hope to see you guys back on the boat as soon as possible.
Yeah. What about you, Dad? Anything?
Yeah, you got to go out fishing as soon as we open up. The fish are out there, looking left and right today, just cruising around.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only thing I would add is just we look forward to having everybody back. Make sure if you're not feeling well, stay home. We don't want to have you back if you're not feeling well, but if you're healthy, happy, you want to get out there and get out of the house, get out on the water, and have some saltwater therapy. We're hoping to start providing that May 1st. That's our hope and goal and our prayer. And as soon as we know, you'll know. So stay tuned to our videos, and we'll make sure to do our best to keep you up to date through our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat channels. Make sure to check us out on Snapchat. If you got it, just look up Hubbard's Marina. Also Instagram, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. We'll be back again next week, Sunday night, every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. Hopefully you can join us again next week. And we still got a 39-hour trip to give away, so don't hop out quite yet. Red snapper season is starting up soon. Make sure you book your red snapper trips. They are filling up fast. June 1st through August 1st is your red snapper opportunities. Gift certificate deals still going on. We already talked about that. Don't forget about the Salinity Gear shirt, the COVID-19 Salinity Gear shirt. Just go to salinitygear.com, click shop, click COVID-19. Under shop, click that COVID-19 Charter Captain Relief, and you can see our brand new Hubbard's Marina shirt and purchase it right here on the store. Any of those purchases go towards helping out the Hubbard's Marina family. So if you want to purchase a brand new Hubbard's Marina shirt, have it shipped to your house, make sure you check out that Salinity Gear performance wear shirt that just came out. It's really cool. And with that, let's see who won a free 39-hour fishing trip for one guest. The 39-hour is for one guest. So let's see who the lucky winner is on the 39-hour fishing trip. Remember, make sure to send us your home address. David Bruns. Make sure to send us your home address to claim that free 39-hour trip in. Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
All right, Frank, get some new glasses.
Yeah, his dream job was fishing in high school, and he bought some white sunglasses, and then he became a fishing boat charter captain, right? That's how it happened.
I'm going to get you some purples.
Go get you another White Claw, Will. Go get you another White Claw.
And the show.